Welcome to the StopStutter podcast, where ex-stutterers share their personal journeys from struggle to confidence. Each episode, we hear real stories of life with a stutter and how the neuroscience method helped them find their voice for good.
This is the StopStutter podcast. I'm Sebastian. I'm originally from Lima in Peru, but I live in London now. I'm both the COO and also a certified stuttering specialist for StopStutter. Before I start, with this amazing talk with Noah, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna use some crutches today. Crutches are speech tools to improve my speech in terms of fluency. And the ones I'm going to use are extreme pronunciation, which is I'm going to open my mouth a bit more when talking and trying to pause a bit more when I talk, as well as using my hand gestures. The reason why is because I tend to speak really fast, and that kind of hinders my speech a bit. So by doing extreme pronunciation and moving my hands, I buy myself some time to speak better, and I remind myself to not rush, because rushing is something that really impacts my fluency and my speech. So hi, Noah.
Hello.
Great to have you here. First of all, if you want a brief intro on yourself.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know I love to talk,
Yes,
especially
sure.
nowadays.
Yeah.
I'm Noah. I'm from Switzerland. I'm a singer-songwriter, but I've also worked as a social worker in the past. And I will also be using some crutches. I'll use what we call a speech plan, basically a combination of some of them are crutches, some of them are other things to focus on. For me, this will be short link stop. Short meaning keeping it short, maybe 1 to 3, 1 to 5 words. It's not about counting them, just as a general note for myself to not do a lot of run-on sentences. And because I also, like you, we share that burden of being fast speakers. This is what the stops are for. Just to remind myself to take my time with it. And I will also link my way through my words, especially if I feel that the block is coming up. I will maybe insert a word or a sound before the problem word. For example, like Noah. If I would stutter on Noah. So that's what I'm going to use. And I'm really excited for this conversation. Let's see where it leads.
How did you first find a StopStutter?
Yeah, so that's a loaded question because I guess in terms of my speech journey, right, I've kind of been through it all, I would say.
Yeah, same actually.
I started stuttering when I was 3, so pretty early. All through my school, it was always the major issue. And then not only through school, just also in my personal life, just socially, yeah, it was just really isolating as well. Um, yeah, I did find some friends, but it did hold me back from engaging with people in the way I wanted to. And for the longest time, I thought I was an introvert, which I'm really not. I'm very social. I love engaging with people, talking. So after having tried close to 50 probably different methods, not always stuttering therapy, but just different methods of alternative and traditional medicine. I had tried acceptance for a while I was studying social work, right? It kind of made sense as well. And of course, I stand by anyone who can get acceptance to work for them and who can find that quality of life, right? That they um, yeah, can find a good level of quality of life with accepting their stutter. That's great. I give everyone kudos. Just for me, I couldn't make it happen. I did really try for 2 or 3 years while I was studying, and I got through it, but my stutter was just so severe that it was really taxing. Like I would get stuck for, yeah, sometimes a minute until I ran out of air, right? And it's
Yeah.
just severe body contortions as well. Sometimes someone, when I was busking in a city and have to communicate with the buskers, right, to
Yeah.
to not be too close so the sound doesn't bleed into each other. Uh,
Sorry.
when
Sorry.
I was,
Question. What
yeah.
what is basking? Haven't
Yes.
heard of that term before.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the right word. It's like making music in the streets, right?
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So I have done that, and once when I did that and I had to communicate with this busker, and there was a language issue as well.
Yeah.
On top of the stuttering, I had such a bad stutter block with body contortions that he actually thought I was having like a medical emergency and started calling an ambulance.
Oh
And
wow.
then I had to explain it like with severe stuttering.
Yeah.
No, and I stutter, right, to
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Uh, so it was really intense, my stutter blocks. So that said, yeah, after my after I had finished my bachelor's in social work, my speech just got really bad out of the blue. There was no trigger that I could think of. And yeah, this led me to Google the topic of stuttering and stuttering therapy the first time in years, honestly. I had not done it in so many years because frankly, I thought I had exhausted all the options. But
Yeah.
when I was last Googling it, StopStutter wasn't around in the form that it is today, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I made a post on Reddit, right? r/stuttering, where I detailed some of my experiences with it. And and then someone from this community, Danny, actually wrote me a message suggesting me a book from Lee. Wait, I have it somewhere. Here, this one,
First
right?
book. Yeah, which is huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the 800
The
page book
800
from
page books.
Lee.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I was really intrigued. Like I don't go around just reading every book, but like it had neuroplasticity in the title, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting
Yeah.
because after many failed therapies, you kind of get a sense of
Yeah.
like some people, and I'm very sorry to say, some people who have given therapy to me about stuttering, especially if they've never stuttered, I feel like they, knowing what I know now, they have kind of missed the core of the issue,
Yeah.
right? So with the neuroplasticity, I was like, oh, yeah, if they view it like as a habit and the brain can change itself, that
Yeah.
sounds like, yeah, that aligns with how stuttering feels for me.
Yeah.
And when I started reading, like Lee described stuttering in a way where I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about,
Yeah.
right? So hyper specific things that you cannot know if you haven't stuttered yourself.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I will give it a shot. And yeah, I read the book and uh, then later joined the program, and the rest is history, kind of. Yeah. I could go into much more detail, but I'll stop.
No, that's wow. That's amazing. And I think we actually share a similar path in many ways.
Hmm.
I also, well, first started stuttering at age 6, I
Hmm.
remember. And I remember that as a child, I was an extrovert 100%. I love talking. I love having
Hmm.
these discussions and everything. And then I remember that I had to speak in front of the whole school because I actually was um, I actually, when I was 14, sorry, I basically was chosen to go to a different school in a different country to essentially like do a course in, I think it was in youth leadership, because
Okay.
as I said, I love to talk and discuss
Yeah.
and all of these things. And I knew that had a stutter, but it wasn't a thing that it in it like it didn't hold me back in the sense
Oh, nice.
of speaking, etc., until I had this moment, which was
Okay.
like well, and until now is something that is seared in my mind. No, I basically had to go in front of the whole high school, which was something like 1,000 students,
Mm-hmm.
and give a brief speech. Say, I went to this course in Washington. It was a school, did a leadership course. I met friends, blah, blah, all of these things. And I went and I tried speaking and I couldn't speak. In the end, I
Yeah.
managed through to get it out because I repeated the whole thing and tried to push out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it was completely a before and after moment.
Yeah.
And I became completely obsessed on getting rid out of this stutter, because I thought
Yeah.
if only I couldn't, like, I didn't stutter and could speak in a fluent way, life would would be so easy and so simple. I could say exactly what I needed at each time, at each point, which of course it isn't true, but it is a big thing that holds you back.
Sure.
So I basically got into this quest of finding how can I solve my speech issues. And I
Mm-hmm.
tried everything. Like at age 16, I actually read papers, like not academic papers with jargon and p-values and r-square values. And I was like,
Yeah.
what is this? I don't understand. But then I kind of threw, and then I realized that what makes the most sense in principle is acceptance. So of
Yeah.
course there's a combination between some techniques and acceptance, but acceptance is really important. And back at home in Peru, we didn't have a acceptance group, or well, there actually were a couple of organizations, but not a massive thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I met Bruno, who is another PWS, and we kind of 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 founded together an organization called Habla Libre, which actually grew huge in Peru. And well, at different points there has been a different amount of volunteers, but until now there is something like 20 volunteers. And
Oh.
it's interesting because with Bruno we always had, like, of course, I I I really like Bruno. He is incredibly smart, a kind guy, real, and is a person who cares about increasing the quality of life of of stutterers, which is excellent. That's at the end of the day the whole point.
Right.
The
Yeah.
the the point where we had a bit of a divergence in view was on that range,
Yeah.
because I think that there's a spectrum between the acceptance camp and the fluency camp.
Absolutely.
And I've been in different points on this spectrum all all of my life. At first, I was
Yeah, me too.
completely the fluency camp. Then I shifted completely on the acceptance camp, and then I've gone back and forth. I've tried fluency shaping, statutory modification,
Yeah.
wire method. All of them I've been in. Uh, but I do think that it's a personal trait and a personal choice. Like,
Yeah.
there are some people, okay, that have different levels of severity of stuttering. There's
Right.
mild, there's medium, there's severe, but the impact it has on quality of life changes so much. So
Yeah.
it's possible that the person that is mild, uh, uh, stuttering completely ruins their life. Completely,
Right.
it destroys them because it's a thing that is top of mind all of the time, and they actually cannot deal with that. And then on the other side, it's also possible that a person that actually stutters a lot and struggles a lot with speech, he or she don't care at all, and it
Right.
doesn't have a
Yeah.
meaningful impact on quality of life. But I do feel that it is such a personal journey and a personal struggle that sometimes a person must try the different things to understand where they actually sit on,
Right.
and I think that I found out that path in 2018,
Mm-hmm.
and I found it after, yeah, so I found it after, I think it was in 2019, actually, sorry. I found it after being at a client meeting because back in Lima, I was a corporate lawyer, which is so boring and everything, but I basically was that, and I had to have a client call where I shared, the advancements in a project, and I couldn't do it. Like my boss at the end of the day had to jump in and do it for me basically because I couldn't express my thought. And there's where at the moment where I basically was 100% on the acceptance camp, and I said, okay, blah blah, no, this is it. I thought, you know what? No, I cannot deal with this kind of challenges all of my life and not have the tools to deal with them. So
Right.
I essentially went to Google and I searched like a lot of different things, and I found Lee's book. And my gut instinctual reaction was, this doesn't work, it's a scam. Because
Mm-hmm.
this is a thing I've been taught all of my life. I was an expert in this thing. No, this doesn't work, this is a scam. But then, exactly as you, I read that thing in the beginning that said, okay, this is interesting, which said that stuttering is a habit.
Yeah.
A habit. And then I thought, that actually makes sense. You know why? Because if what I listen every single day is me having choppy speech and blocks and repetitions and trying to get words out and don't and can't do it, then how can I expect my default manner of speech be a fluent speech? It doesn't make any sense. You know, like
Right.
if what I do all the time is speak in a specific way, how can I expect fluency when all of my memories and default speech is a stutter speech? Okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. No, so I
Yeah.
gave the benefit of the doubt,
Mm-hmm.
and then I read the whole book. And this is where I thought all of these things make eminent sense. Okay, so yeah, I've I've actually gone quite a bit, but the question I
No
wanted to
worries.
ask there, Noah, was, you kind of discovered or used a crutch extremely well in the voice,
Yeah.
which is singing. You
Yeah.
answer, a question by singing. Uh, can I ask you, like in your mind, what's the mindset that happens when you go from talking to singing? Like you feel more
Mm-hmm.
calm. Like what exactly
Yeah.
happens?
I mean, there's a couple of different things I think that go on at once. First of all, I think, and this is just my personal opinion, I think in my brain, singing is stored in a different cupboard than speaking.
Yeah.
Which is part of the habit, right? When I sing, the habit is overwhelming fluency, and I don't think. That's another part. I don't think about the words when I'm
Yes.
singing. I
Exactly.
am focusing on the message of the emotions first and foremost when I sing. Some people, I mean, I focus on the melody to a degree, but for me, it's mostly the message, really. Because I'm like a singer-songwriter type. I cannot do like Mariah Carey type runs and whistle notes and all those things. I'm more of a storytelling singer, I guess. So when I sing, my thoughts are always with the story, with what I'm saying, to sing it like I mean it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and that has a lot of things in there that can be transferred over to speech, right?
Yeah.
If we, I mean, thinking and focusing or obsessing over our feared words are
Yeah.
part of what makes us stutter in this situation, right? So if we can take some of the things that work when we sing, we can find different crutches
Yeah.
that help us over those speech blocks, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, what also attracted me to this program, because different programs also have speech tools, right?
Yeah.
But there was never an end goal. Like it always used to be, well, look, Noah and Jan, stuttering is incurable. So you'll just have to use these crutches.
Yeah.
Or they weren't called crutches, they were called speech tools or other names. And I was never satisfied with that because I never liked how it sounded.
Yeah.
I always thought, well, I'm doing this because I mean, in a sense, all humans they yearn for community, right? And
Yeah.
they don't want to experience what we call like othering, right?
Yeah.
They in a sense everyone wants to be normal to an extent, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, when I have to use, for example, when I have to talk this way all the time
Yeah.
just to not stutter,
Yeah.
which was a tool that was taught with the
Yeah.
like eight and to talk in that rhythm,
Yeah.
it's kind of a very unsatisfying solution for
Yeah.
me personally, because I always cared about expressing myself in the way I
Yeah.
wanted to. So and it's like a trade-off, right? I wasn't willing to make that trade-off because for those techniques to work when I need them, I would have to use them all the time.
Yeah.
But then I would lose those magical moments when the stars align, right? We all know
Yeah.
them when we're in a situation and we know the next couple sentences we can just talk. We're
Yeah.
fluent.
Yeah.
Every PWS knows those moments.
Yeah.
Those, yeah, those always were like magic to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't want to lose those,
Yeah.
right? And I would have to make that trade for the techniques to work.
Yeah.
And with this program, first of all, the crutches sound better
Yeah.
than the speech tools that I was taught in the other programs, and they are crutches, right? They're temporary. When the leg is healed, no one keeps walking on the crutches. Their
Yeah.
legs healed, they don't need them anymore. So that's also a big part that attracted me with this approach, right? Because it challenges that I guess dogma of incurability, which never really made sense to me. And I know a lot of people get hung up on the word cure, right? I don't care what you call it. In
Yeah.
the end, it's about quality of life,
Yeah.
right? And if if I can increase my fluency with my type of stuttering, and my personality, I know my quality of life is gonna improve.
Yeah.
And it has already.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not at the end of the road, but I haven't stuttered badly in months,
Yeah.
which is just a huge weight off of my shoulder. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the anxiety is gone as well. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
a huge benefit for me.
That's amazing. Yeah, wow, there's actually a lot there. I think the first point I wanted to make is that to basically go back a bit on first principles, okay, and
Yeah,
understanding like why the crutches work and all of those things, and that's I also had an aha moment where when I read that I was like, yes, exactly this is the fact that speaking is supposed to be an automatic process.
yeah,
And I think that I at least was told to try and think through each word and what to say and how to say it and construct
yeah.
that sound, the k, the b, the no, like all of those things to construct them.
Same here.
And I thought this is absurd because speech is such a complex process that happens on an unconscious way. Like nobody actually, when talking, thinks about the exact words they are gonna use. When someone talks, it isn't like they have a screen here on the left with bullet points or an exact script and they just read it. No, you have a base idea of what to say and where to go
Yeah,
and what to react, and then you say it. But we've been either taught or learned by bad experiences in the past that no, you have to think before you speak. You have to think.
yeah.
And this is, I think words. Like you have to know exactly what you want to say
Mm-hmm.
before you say it. And that I think is the thing that triggers stuttering because you are trying to make a process that is an automated process conscious. And that's
Yeah,
where the struggle comes from. So the way of, in principle, of solving that is just by saying or thinking, stop thinking words. But of course, that doesn't work or doesn't happen. It's
right,
like saying, um, stop thinking of a polar bear. You
right.
think of a polar bear,
Ping,
of course,
polar bear.
think
Yeah,
immediately. So
yeah,
you think on a different thing that doesn't make speech weird or that doesn't feel like something that is uneasy to apply or different or strange. And that's where the crutches come in, which is extreme pronunciation. It doesn't make speech worse, it actually makes it more clear.
yeah,
Talking with pauses is actually makes things clear. When you link words and hold the tone, it actually makes speech a little bit nicer sounding because you are elongating your words and all of it sound like one big word. It isn't a thing that you have to like. What they do in fluency shaping is you say in the beginning each word extremely slowly, like
yeah,
I think like once and no like that, and you do it first in a practice setting and then try to fasten it up in real life. So it is
yeah,
still slow, but you try to talk in a monotone voice. The issue with that is that outside the practice setting, it doesn't work because
yeah.
you feel completely weird, feel abnormal, feel a bit of pressure, you collapse, and you try to get it out.
Right.
What, what I found with the crutches and the speech plant and the method is that it's something that you can use and apply under pressure
Yeah,
because it doesn't make you sound weird. Now, of course, there is a concept called the fluency ladder, which is the more afraid you are, the tougher it is. Why?
sure.
Because you feel more blocks, more pressure, more anxiety, and also because of past experiences. In the past, when I talk in front of 100 people, I've always started, so now I'm gonna know again and again, blah blah blah, those kind of things. But there is where the principle of neuroplasticity is so important. It helps us to rewire those experiences and memories of stuttering. And just to wrap up that point, you know, the best way, like if you have an exam as an example, the best way to remember something is if you actually add a emotion to it.
Yeah,
And
right.
this is why we have like a very vivid image of something that happened in the past that is a huge trauma. So me as an example, presenting in front of clients or in high school, I remember exactly each moment I said, how I felt, the experiences and everything. Why? Because the emotion felt it was so strong. Okay.
Yeah,
So we have to combat that with positive emotions. And this is why, as you said, to learn to laugh to speak is so important because
yeah,
it triggers, like, it reminds you of the feeling. And that feeling of emotion and excitement is the only way to combat the emotion of anxiety, fear, shame, uh, all of those things. Okay, great. So I have a question there about, okay, so essentially you started in a StopStutter a year ago, or more or less, or a
it
bit
was
more than.
June 2024 it would have been. So
Okay,
1.5 years, I guess,
1.5 years.
about.
Perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. And okay, so then you got the message from Danny,
Yes.
read the book, and then exactly what happened after that.
Okay, so yeah, like while reading the book, I tried to apply some of the crutches and the what we call the 1, 2, 3 punch, right? With the mind training and the reading aloud and yeah. So yeah, very, very quickly after finishing the book, I wrote an email to Lee because yeah, he mentioned it in the book to write him an email. So I guess
Yeah,
okay, I'm not sure if
did the
this is
same
still
actually.
active.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I guess I'll do it. I didn't expect a response really because I was like, I bet he gets a lot of emails, but he did respond. Um, and yeah, so we met on Skype a couple times, and he really got me started with applying the crutches in a better way and kind of getting me started on the speech plan. Um, Yeah, so I had my couple first sessions with Lee and then later had some sessions with another certified stuttering specialist with Patricia. Yeah, not weekly, it was more spread out. Um, yeah, but this was crucial for me. Like I truly believe that I wouldn't be where I am right now if it hadn't been for the stuttering therapy sessions, right? It was really a huge help for me, especially because I would really struggle in my process to um, avoid having bad incidents, right? It took me longer than most. It took me over a year to um, get my 30-day streak without appearing speech disabled, right? Without having a bad incident. Um, and for me, that was mainly because of consistency. Just I had a huge problem with my crutch use, right? The thing would happen that you just talked about. It's a fluency ladder, right? And I got hit with pressure
Mm.
and I didn't use the crutches. Now I know that it's not like I couldn't have used them, but something within me was preventing me to use them. I was still making a different choice, um, which is an interesting thing. And I think that's where we really see the importance of mind training as well. Because what was happening to me is probably because of those numerous previous speech therapies with the methods that didn't sound natural, I had built up quite a strong resistance to any methods that made me sound different than my quote unquote natural speech, right? So I applied something within me, in my subconscious, applied this to the crutches as well. And I didn't feel confident in the way that I was sounding when I used the crutches. Even though when I listened back to like recordings of me using the crutches and I compared it to me completely wiping out with stuttering and like body contortions, me and everyone in the right mind know that they prefer the version where I'm using the crutches, right? But these things are irrational in a way, or they can be, they were for me. So I had to tackle this underlying, I guess, wrong self-belief with affirmations.
Yeah.
And it really worked wonders. I incorporated the affirmation, I sound better when using my crutches. And the first time I said it, I almost had to laugh. It was so ridiculous. Like
Yeah.
a ridiculous notion. Like, how could this be true? I don't believe it one bit. And with every time I said it, like I didn't notice it on a day-to-day basis, right? But a couple months back, or a couple months with consistently saying this affirmation as part of my daily mind training routine, right? I looked back and I was like, nowadays when I say this affirmation, it's obvious. Like, sure, absolutely, I believe it. So this was an instance where I actually noticed my mindset changing on a very specific level. And it did a 180, right? And sometimes with affirmations, it's hard to say, oh, what is it actually changing? How much? Because it's a gradual change, right? It's one day at a time. And with those gradual changes, sometimes you don't notice it. But with this specific topic, it was just so cool to see because it was measurable in a way because I remembered how I felt. I even wrote it in like a diary type of thing. One time when I was really feeling frustrated, and yeah, some months later, that self-belief completely changed and changed into a positive. So I think this is why, yeah, Lee wrote his book in the way he did, right? With that, it's you cannot just do one thing. For you to really change your stuttering habit into a fluency habit, you need every help you can get, right? So you need the crutches to manage the situations as you feel the pressure to go around the blocks. But the majority of the actual change is made through mind training and through just hearing yourself speak fluently, right? So it's you need all of those three parts of the 1, 2, 3 punch, right? In boxing terms. Yeah. I veered off course there with your question. I'm very sorry, but one thing leads
No,
to
no.
another. It's just a puzzle, right? Yeah.
That's so cool. No, that's actually so cool to learn. And what about the path to becoming a CSS?
Yeah. I mean, for a long time I was like, I don't really feel ready. And this is a point where I think a lot of PWS struggle to declare themselves as a PWSS, a person who has stopped stuttering, right? Because there's still room to grow for all of us. So where do we draw the line? am I still a stutterer? Do I identify with it still? And yeah, I mean, that was the thing that kind of preceded my choice to become a certified stuttering specialist, right? But yeah, after having made the choice to say, okay, I guess I have to accept it now. I I have not stuttered in a couple months, so I guess yeah, I am at the point where I can accept that label for myself, right? Um, and after that, it was kind of a natural next step for me because yeah, I know what the stuttering therapy has done for me in WSSA. So it was kind of a natural progression to say, hey, I kind of want to give back and I want to support others in their journey to fluency, right? And yeah, it was just a very natural step for me. And actually, throughout the training and the coaching, um, I have really seen improvements in my first and foremost my confidence uh, as a speaker. Like I can use my crutches in any situation now, and I know that I never have to stutter. And this is huge because this removes the anxiety completely. Because the reason why I was anxious was it's this uncontrollable monster that jumps that jumps up and you get yeah you get mugged in a dark alley. Feels
Yeah,
like that when stuttering sneaks up on you, right? And
100%.
that just doesn't happen because uh yeah, I'm the person who has the light switch in a way. I turn the light on so I can
Yeah.
see it and I'm like, huh, you won't do anything. Uh I have these tools on my tool belt, right? So
Wow.
I can just use a crutch and get over it. So
Yeah.
it's a very
That's
minor thing and I don't even think about it anymore in my day to day. My brain just grabs the crutch automatically. I
yeah.
haven't worried about stuttering in a long time, which is just yeah, it's a huge improvement in terms of my quality of life. I can finally focus on all of the fun things in life. Don't have to obsess over something that should be automatic. Speech, right? Yeah, getting your point across.
Wow, that's an incredible answer, no? And yeah, and I agree with that 100%. The emotional toll it takes to think about speech, obsess about speech every single day. And I think that it's really interesting because it says like at first, okay, the fear doesn't go away. But what happens is you build up proof and evidence that you can manage and
Right.
deal with it. You build up evidence because each successful moment, each speech victory counts as evidence, that I got this, I can do it. When I concentrate on my technique, it works. And then there's a second step, sorry. The second step is fighting the fear itself, and there's a thing I always say that's really interesting, that is if you get a person on a, a MRI and you put
Mhm.
them a person who is afraid and a person who is excited, in terms of sensations or feelings in the body, it's exactly the same. The
Yeah.
heart rate, the heart rate, the sweat involved, the hairs like going up, etc. The difference is how we interpret those feelings. So for someone who is afraid, that shallow of breath, that thing you feel in the chest at everything, it pushes you to run away as fast as possible. You know,
Yeah.
while excitement is the complete opposite. It pushes you to do it. I cannot wait for it to happen. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's do it.
Yeah.
Exact same feelings, opposite emotion, opposite emotion, and at the end of the day, that's the point, because we don't want fluency for fluency's sake. The end of the
Right.
goal isn't fluency, you know. The
No.
end of the goal is quality of life. And the end of the day, the goal is to be less afraid, because the feeling of being afraid all day is exhausting, you know. The sensation of I cannot do this is it's limiting. It it has a huge impact on quality of life.
Yeah.
Um, so if we find a way to be better, to be more positive, to be excited instead of afraid, that would be excellent. And as we said in the beginning, if there's a person that finds that through acceptance, amazing for them.
Sure.
Amazing for them.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, it isn't like fluency by itself isn't a good thing. It isn't
Right.
and so I think that this is important to say again and again and again, because I think there's sometimes a false assumption, you know, that there's like
Mm-hmm.
a fight between the different camps of acceptance and fluency,
Yeah.
blah blah. I think we all want the exact same thing. The difference is in methods of getting there. Oh,
Yeah.
And I
Absolutely.
think and I think it depends a lot on each person. Like if
Mm-hmm.
there's a person that is completely fine with acceptance and it doesn't impact their quality of life, then please accept them, because the stop stutter way takes a lot of effort and takes a lot of hard work and takes consistent, it takes commitment, takes time.
Yeah.
So if you analyze it and say, you know what, it isn't worth doing this because it doesn't affect me much, then of course don't do it, you know. And that isn't
Absolutely.
either ethical. No, we aren't making an ethical, moral or ethical view or judgment.
Right.
If fluency is bad, stuttering is wrong. Not at all. Not at all. It's just a tool that if something that harms your quality of life in an important way, then there's this method and program that allows you to do it less and
Yeah.
feel better in terms of quality of life, you know.
Absolutely. And I think in a way all anyone wants to do is live life to the fullest,
Exactly.
right? And with a stutter, sometimes it can get in the way. I mean, it
100%.
certainly has for me. So what this program has done, it has made this stutter go out of the way. Like
Yeah.
my speech is not a hurdle anymore. It's just it works. It functions.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. Normally, it's just there. I can rely on it, right?
Oh,
And it gets out of the way. I
yeah.
don't have, it's not another thing I have to worry about. We have
Yeah.
to worry about enough things in life,
100%.
right? So it's one thing less that I have to worry about. And it's a huge thing for me. And yeah, I mean, 99% of people don't have to worry, or I guess it depends on the situation. Some people have general speech anxiety. But I guess most people don't worry about their speech in a general sense on a day
Yeah.
to day, right? So
Yeah.
it's it's great if it can be automatic, and I
Yeah.
guess I guess people who are able to accept it, they don't worry about it as
Yeah.
well, and they
Exactly.
accomplish it this way, right? So it's great. It all yeah, it all gets a kudos from me.
Yeah. 100%. And that I think it's so essential. I think in my experience, both me and also the talks I've had with others in the community is that we are extremely harsh on ourselves always.
Yeah,
We are so tough on ourselves. Like the tiniest block, the tiniest repetition, we think it's the end of the world and it's so bad, etc. And I think a stop stutter doesn't mean that. So it doesn't
right.
mean that
No.
you never ever again gonna stop, you know, a bit of choppiness in the language, etc. Because all people do it. Like all people do it.
Right.
Like you can get a person in a video and talk for an hour, then find at least 50 or more instances of a bit of repetition or struggling to talk, and it's something that it doesn't show in their mind as anything to change
Right.
or everything,
Yeah.
because it's something normal. Okay, now I think in our case we are much more the radar is always up.
Yes.
The signal is
Yeah.
always up. I say, oh my god,
Yeah.
I said
Oh.
house instead of saying house. Oh, well, no, I'm going out. And I think that it's important to say that a stop stutter isn't that at all. It isn't
No.
like you can never stutter in any way. It's the complete opposite. No,
Yeah.
this is why we basically have a high bar, which is called the bad incident bar. The bad incident is when you feel that you are in a moment, okay, that someone else is gonna come and gonna say, okay, there's something here that there's not normal, because of course what is that, but this is a person that has issues to basically communicate with someone else. For most people that is a very high bar, very high bar. So it's not like saying
Yes.
yes the other day, no? And even if that happens, it doesn't mean anything. Like it doesn't mean
Right.
that the person thinks that you are like this or that, etc., etc. But by having that bar, that high bar, okay, it allows us to change our own view of ourselves, which is the
Right.
essential thing. If I see myself as a person who stutters, by definition, I have to stutter always, because
Right.
that is part of who I am.
Yeah.
But if I can see myself as someone that stops stuttering, even if I have blocks or a bit of choppiness or everything, but all in all, I am a person who doesn't stutter anymore. Then your behavior and your attitudes and mindset align with that. But
Right.
and the reason why we need a whole month without bad incidents is because we actually need that proof, that evidence that says I can do it because I've done it for a whole month. But that doesn't
Yeah.
mean that the act of speech is gonna be easy. No, it's still there is a second phase, which is from fear in speaking to loving to speak. And that takes a huge amount of exercise, a huge amount of exposure. You have to go out, talk with people, attend the meetings, some meetings, group practice sessions, all of those things. But you're in the right path, and in a slow but sure way, okay, you'll go from a person who is afraid of speaking to a person that seeks out those speaking moments in friends,
Yeah.
in the class, in groups in book clubs or philosophy clubs or film clubs, etc., etc. No, and I think that is the end game, because we stop to hold back our ideas,
Right.
our experiences, everything, and we attempt to share with others. So yeah, I think that yes, as we said before, there isn't here any judgment at all.
Right.
It's just a different method of achieving the same thing, no?
Absolutely. And I think what this really does is it gives you confidence in your speech. And I feel like I've noticed I approach people in a whole different way. Like I'm a lot more open, and I noticed yeah, before I found this program that was more severely stuttering, I would never like I would never call anyone, right?
Yeah.
Like actually calling someone It was a function of my phone that was unused, basically. I would never do it, but nowadays I call people sometimes because
Yeah.
it's fun
Yeah.
to talk to them and hear their
Yeah.
voice, right? So you just notice some things, yeah. You can just, yeah, live life to the fullest in every avenue, and any time that I can spend not worrying about anything uh, is is time well spent, I feel. Yeah, because it is about quality of life, right? And it's I just really appreciate yeah, what I have been able to achieve in this program, and it's not an understatement to say it has changed my life. And
Wow.
I also feel like it has been more consistent now. I can say after it has been 1.5 years. No other program I have been able to keep up for this long. Like some other methods have worked for the time that I was in the program, and then a couple months later I couldn't get it to work anymore, right? But I think since this method is holistic, right? Like it treats the whole person and it establishes a foundation that holds up, right? With daily practice, you're really building something sturdy and it will hold up in high pressure situations if you put in the work, if you put in the practice. Yeah, you can get to a level where that foundation it will not budge under pressure, right? And it feels really good in a personal development sense, right? Self-improvement sense. And with self-improvement, we we don't strive for perfection, right? It's you versus you. Like
Yeah.
that's the only person who I compare myself to.
Yeah.
It's myself. And if I look back, my God, I know what version I prefer, and I don't judge myself on my fluency. I judge myself on the quality of life. I am in a very good place now,
Yeah.
and I get so much more done in my life now uh, because I suddenly have time. I suddenly don't have to worry however many minutes in an hour about my speech.
Yeah.
I get so much done.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, and yeah, I've yeah, that's exactly right. It's yeah, yeah. That's so true. Like the amount of time I spent thinking about my speech and
Yeah.
worrying about, oh my God, I have, a meeting at 9 with a client. I'm gonna say this, I'm
Right.
gonna say that. And now, yes, exactly. The brain and I
Horror.
always exactly. And I always went to the worst case scenario all the time, like I'm
Yeah,
gonna
sure.
blog
We all do.
in each word, blah blah, and now it's something like now what I always do is I start by thinking I'm allowed to use my crutches. I'm allowed
Yeah.
to work on my speech because it sounds better and because it's something that I need. So when I am still anxious, what I do is I start each conversation by exaggerating my crutches, always.
Right.
And that fear that is still there in the beginning, once I say the first couple of sentences well, it kind of slows down, and then I interpret the adrenaline as excitement, not as fear. But the first moments, I'm afraid all the time. But then I change the switch by using the crutch. And perfect. So as a last question, well, as a last couple of questions. The first question is, what is your view on the StopStutter members and community?
I mean, that's another huge part for me. I mean, it's just such a supportive environment. Like I have I have never met a kinder group of people. Like it's so condensed. Like it's insane to me how so many kind people yeah like if you like it's weird, right? If you, I think if you took a sample size of like normal people in the society, I think and compare it to the general um, member of our community, I just think there is a huge bundle of empathy and in this community. It's wild. And like I have engaged with so many other people in this community, and with the group practice sessions, it's a great environment. We always try to create like a safe space, and everyone, it's a very yeah, people are allowed to be vulnerable, right? Whether they are completely new to the program, it's their first session, or if they have already stopped stuttering, right? If they have already uh yeah uh climbed that hill, right? And it's just a space where people can come together and exchange thoughts, and it's very, yeah, it's really a beautiful thing to witness and to engage with. And yeah, I feel like especially for people who stutter, I mean, I can speak for myself as well. I surely was kind of isolated by my experiences with stuttering. And I think in terms of a social aspect, it can feel really good to exchange thoughts with someone who in a lot of ways has had a similar story with their speech, right? And I think it accomplishes a similar task than with a self-help group, in a way, like a traditional stuttering self-help group. But it's it's always through the lens of, hey, um yeah, you can also get there, and supporting each other in their personal journey of self-improvement, wherever they want to go, whatever their goal is. Um, it's just really beautiful to witness, and it's very tight knit. It kind of feels like a family at times, right? It's Yeah, and I feel like I've been here for 1.5 years. I feel like I know some people, right? I feel like I really know them, and some of them I'm happy to even call my friends. It's Yeah, it's very beautiful what can kind of blossom uh from these exchanges throughout this community.
Great, excellent, excellent, Noah. That's yeah, that's all so true and powerful. So yeah, so now as a last question, is there anything that I haven't asked that I should have asked, or anything you think is important to, I don't know, to share with us?
Well, I could either not say anything or keep talking for 3 hours. There's always more to be said. I guess what I would want to leave the people with is, first and foremost, in this process of working on yourself, whether it is with speech or just if in your natural way of going through life, be kind to yourself. Because I think, yeah, especially when you're too focused on your self-improvement, you can be a very harsh critic to yourself. And this will not do you any good. And you need to be kind to yourself. And we're all human, right? No one is perfect. And it's not about achieving perfection in any way. It's just about, as we've mentioned multiple times, it's about quality of life, right? So don't lose track of where you're trying to get to, and be kind to yourself. If something doesn't work out, if you stutter, it's not the end of the world. My God, it's completely fine. Don't lose hope. It's a step-by-step process. Whether you're very severe or very mild, you can get to a point where stuttering is a non-issue. I think that's what I would want to leave people with. Meaningful change is possible, and you can definitely get there. I have, and I personally have not seen a much worse stutterer than me. So it's not about severity. It's about consistent practice and giving yourself the time and space and love and kindness that you need to give yourself throughout this process.
That's an incredible answer, Noah. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this talk, and yeah,
Me too.
I'll see you soon. Thanks so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed today's story. Stay tuned for more inspiring journeys. And don't forget to check out the StopStutter app to connect with the amazing people you hear on this podcast.